What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers pulled off a trade for Dorian Finney Smith, and in doing so, kept him from the Memphis Grizzlies. There were reports that the Memphis Grizzlies were closing in and active in trade talks and looked like they were about to acquire Dorian Finney Smith, and then lo and behold, Lakers swoop in and end up taking him from the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, the final trade proposal, supposedly based on reports, was Conchar, Kennard, and a protected top 15 protected first for Dorian Finney Smith. The Lakers were able to get Dorian Finney Smith as well as Shake Milton for D'Angelo Russell, as well as Maxwell Lewis and 3 second-round picks. So they didn't even have to give up a first for Dorian Finney Smith. Now, why? Why didn't the Memphis get Dorian Finney Smith? They were giving up a first. Not all firsts are created equal. Top 15 is about as close to a second-round pick as it gets, right? Like, it's not, if it was like unprotected or something like that, they probably would have gotten the deal done. The reason that the Lakers were able to swing this trade in their favor as opposed to the Memphis Grizzlies was because of the expiring contracts, right? Nets, as you saw with the Dennis Schroeder trade, didn't want to take on long-term salary. They sent Dennis Schroeder for seconds when they wanted a first for Dorian Finney-Smith, and they ended up settling because they were able to take on short-term salary. Even Maxwell Lewis has non-guaranteed next year, so they can kind of evaluate him as a young prospect, young piece that they can kind of look at and go, okay, do we want to keep him? Do we want to get rid of him? Right? Gives them flexibility, something that the Memphis Grizzlies were unable to do. And you're seeing the value of expiring contracts. So the Memphis Grizzlies, where do they go from here, right? They don't have these like expiring contracts and stuff that they can just pile up and go and make a move. Well, the problem is they're either going to have to overpay or kind of stand where they're at. And they really could use a 3-and-D win. I thought Dorian Finney-Smith to the Memphis Grizzlies made all the sense in the world, right? Even did a video about it, even talked about it, right? Like, that would have been huge for Memphis. Because, they have Ja, they have Baines. Marcus Smart at the 3, a lot of times, it's small. You understand? You really need that 3. You need that Dylan Brooks replacement, right? If they would have been able to do that, you still would have Marcus Smart that you could have looked to trade and maybe move. If not, you could bring him off the bench and have that bench depth with him and Clark and some of these other guys, right? Like, it would have been a good situation for them to have something because you could go big, you could go small, you could have Ja Baines, Dorian Finney-Smith, Triple J, and Zach Edey. Or you could go small and have, Dorian Finney-Smith at the 4 with Triple J, go with Marcus Smart, right? Like, or Brandon Clark or any of these guys, right? Like, you had this versatility and this vision that made a lot of sense for a team in the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, that's a pipe dream. That's out the way now because the Lakers ended up landing Dorian Finney-Smith. So what's next? I still believe that the Memphis Grizzlies do need a 3-and-D style wing. Problem is, all the other ones are very pricey. Now, you could go get like a Cody Martin who's making like $8 million. You go get like kind of these veteran ones, like a Torrey Craig who's making like, 3? I think it's like 3.3, something like that. At that point, you might as well just stay where you're at, right? To me, I think either A, you kind of push your chips in and go try to get a Kyle Kuzma, go look to get a Jeremy Grant, right? Like, financially, though, is the problem, right? Like, if you can keep kind of your core guys, right, even if you have to add like a Marcus Smart to the trade and stuff, problem is teams value and want these expiring contracts. They want the salary flexibility, right? Like, this new CBA has changed the game, has changed the landscape entirely because teams are so afraid to get into these aprons and not have the flexibility, not be able to make the moves and stuff. So you see these teams trying to clear off the deck. Even the Lakers cleared off salary in this trade. Even the Lakers were able to clear, and they went from $30,000 under the second apron to now $3.5 million under the second apron, right? Like, that's a big difference for them because, again, they're trying to make these moves. They're trying to make this trade. You're seeing the value in cap space, and I think it's going to change a lot of just the way teams give out contracts and stuff like that. Now, look, Memphis is still a very good team. Do I believe that they're a contender? No. I didn't think they were a contender a couple years ago, and they ended up running the Lakers in the first round and lost. Every year you kind of see these teams that are very good, very explosive. Houston's another example, right? Are they a team that really is going to make and win the NBA Finals? Probably not. They're good, fun, young, exciting teams. They're very good for the regular season. But you see the limitations at times from some of these guys in the playoffs, particularly on Memphis. I think going and getting a guy like a Dorian Finney Smith made so much sense for them because it gave them a vet who had kind of been there, done that, kind of gives them some composure, kind of gives them that calming presence, particularly on the defense side of things, the defensive versatility with him. Ideally, they need to find something like that. The problem is there's just not really those guys out there. Kyle Kuzma, at least he's won a championship, right? He was on the Lakers in that championship run. The difference is Dorian Finney-Smith is, the star in your role, right? He's the guy that, you hear that all the time from people, right? Because he is. He's that guy that, boom, slots in, knows his role, lockdown defense, knock down the three-point shot. He doesn't play beyond his role. He doesn't try to do too much. Very rarely is he taking bad shots and stuff like that. Guy like Kyle Kuzma, can he get to that? Right? He was that with the Lakers in their first stint, in their first go-around, but he's gotten the taste of the good life with the Wizards, right? He knows what it tastes like, right? Like being able to just jack up shots and poor shot selection and not have to play defense. And, him and Jordan Poole are out there, see a local baddie sitting courtside and are like, all right, buddy, you know what time it is, let's go, right? Like they're just going crazy, right? Can he come in and slot in and play that role that they need from him? Sure, at times they might need him to shot create, put the ball on the deck, go make a bucket, right? Get into the mid-range, operate, use his size and his length, his rebounding, right? His versatility on the defense side, slot at the 3, slot at the 4, right? Like Kyle Kuzma makes a lot of sense for a team like the Memphis Grizzlies. It's just will he buy into the specific role that they don't need Kyle Kuzma necessarily to go and be a 22 to 25 point a game guy. They don't need him to out there and doing all the crazy stuff, taking all these crazy shots and doing all this nonsense. They need him to be tough, physical, out there playing defense, rebounding the basketball, helping make plays for himself, make a couple plays for others, right? Do the dirty work while being that serviceable 3-and-D guy out there. That's what the Memphis Grizzlies need him to be. Can he and will he be that? That's the question. Jeremy Grant, again, talk about a guy who's making $30 million, long-term salary, although he's probably the best player that's available at the wing position. Cam Johnson is definitely might have something to say about that. But Jeremy Grant is, again, the guy that's been there, done that, veteran, right? He was on like the Nuggets on that conference finals run where they ran into Lakers and Lakers won the championship, right? Like, again, he's a guy that come in. He's better at kind of fitting in and playing that role, right? When you need him to, he can go, hey, here's the ball, let me go do my thing. But he also is fine just kind of, hey, let me play defensively. Hasn't been great the last few years, but it's also been on Portland. He's been on bad teams. It's kind of hard to get up and lock down defensively every night when you're basically the only defensive player that the team has. Right? Like, eventually you're like, all right, like clearly we don't care about defense. We're a team like Memphis, right, with Triple J, former defensive player of the year. Ja can get after it and use his athleticism stuff. Not really a great defense player, but he can get after it. Desmond Baines, right, Clark, these guys, smart. Although, probably have to trade Smart in that. Can you maybe pull something off to go get somebody like that where he can slot in, he can give you that veteran presence, not the best contract, but he might not. I mean, you might be able to get him for a top 15 protected first, right? Like, I don't think he's going to cost more than that asset-wise. It's just kind of matching the salaries, which can be a little difficult, but it's not impossible. Right? And now you slot in, you got that legit 3-and-D wing that can make plays, can score the basketball, can hopefully get back to being the defender that he once was a couple seasons ago, or at least a version of that. He's on a contending team, so he'd probably be better. He'd probably be more invested and engaged. Again, it's hard to get up every night when you're on a team like Portland and you're just terrible and can't win games, and they're purposely trying to tank, and then you go to a team that's second in the Western Conference and trying to contend and compete for an NBA championship. The whole perspective, mindset, everything changes. So personally, I think Memphis still needs to try to find that 3-and-D wing. Ideally, question is, will they be able to find that? That's where the dilemma is, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think like, nah, just stay the course? Or is there something specific that you'd like to see them do, something that you don't? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.